Hello, distinguished students. This is your tutor, Miss Zulu. Welcome to today's conversation where we're going to do a continuation on advertising. But before I get into that, remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more sessions. So, last week we introduced the topic advertising. So, today I'm doing a continuation. Today we'll start by looking at the media of advertising. Okay. So, we have different types of media of advertising. So, the first one that we're going to look at is television. So, television is the best media of advertising customer services. Okay. So, most of us are aware of this, right? Because when you talk about television as a media of advertising, we see many adverts. For example, I would give of Trade Kings. Trade Kings have a lot of products of theirs that are advertised on TV. Okay. So, what are the advantages of using TV as a media of advertising? So, it gives a lasting impression by means of sound and vision. So, we look at how technology has developed, and we see how eye-catching their adverts are. Okay, mostly when they're showing these adverts on TV, like most of the times they advertise them from time to time. Okay, it gives a wide coverage. The advert can be shown at the right time for the right audience. So like I was saying, like most of the adverts that we see, maybe I would give an example for the famous Trade Kings. I can give an example of Yango, MTN. Most of the times you find whatever we're watching, whatever program we're watching on TV, right? Whenever there's like an advert, it will be about these products that they're advertising. It will either be about Trade Kings, it will be about Yango, it will be about Airtel, and so on and so forth. Okay, it gives display and demonstration of products by means of sound and vision. Okay, advertisements shown in color have immense impact to attract customers. It provides repeated advertisements. So like this is what I was saying, where they keep on repeating one and the same advert over and over for them to attract customers. Okay, so we look at the disadvantages of television advertising. So it is very expensive. Okay, so most of the times we've seen that most of the companies that advertise using television are those big companies. So it's expensive for people who have like small businesses. It's very expensive for them to advertise it on TV because it's quite it quite has a lot of costs. So mostly we see like those big companies that are doing fine are the ones that mostly advertise on TV. Yeah. So it is not well received by viewers, as some consider it interruption to interesting programs. So people would want to watch their programs, right? There are people who say, maybe you're watching a movie, then an advert comes. People feel as though you're interrupting their movies or whatever programs they're watching. It is only limited to people who have television sets. Okay, so we have people who can't afford buying a TV, right? And for that reason, some people don't have access to televisions. They're unable to see these adverts, right? Television ads may be short-lived and hence may not create a lasting impression. Okay, some ads may not be taken seriously by some people who think of them as entertainment. So yeah, some people would not really concentrate on what you're advertising. Instead, they'll just think it's an entertainment. For example, I would give the way we have that Fruticana ad by Your Maps. People mostly concentrate on the song. They don't even care what the ad is about, right? Okay, so the next media of advertising, what we're going to look at is radio. So radio advertising is used to advertise goods that are on general demand, such as bathing soaps, detergents, and toothpaste. So we also have people also use radios to advertise these products. We've seen so many adverts through the radio, and yeah, most of the things that are advertised on radios are those ones that are on high demand, right? So let us look at the advantages of radio advertising. It gives a wide coverage. It is cheaper than television advertising. So Television advertising is quite more expensive because there's sound, there are people that you have to pay to help you do the advertisement. There's a lot that is involved. While when you talk about the radio, there are no pictures that are involved where maybe it's just the sound. So I would say a TV is more expensive compared to a radio advertisement. It can be directed to a specific audience by using special time or languages. Okay, so some people, this one needs specific time, and maybe we'll talk about the audience because not everybody listens to a radio. Yeah, it gives lasting impression through catchy tune. Repeated advertisements can be done on radio. So even on radios, like people repeat one and the same advertisement to catch an audience. So now we look at the disadvantages of radio advertising. So the first one is customers do not physically see the goods being advertised. So now this is a disadvantage because on TV, we're able to see if they're advertising Fruticana, we know, okay, this is what it looks like, and these are the flavors of Fruticana that are available. But when you talk about a radio, someone just say, oh no, there's Fruticana on the market, it's tasty, it's this, there's this and that. We don't get to see the pictures of how that Fruticana looks like, right? Then some radio stations have limited coverage, e.g. community radio stations. Okay, so that's also a disadvantage. So radio's adverts tend to be short. So when we talk about a radio advert, it's going to be short. So, and things are going to be like repeated, and that's a disadvantage of using the radio advertising. Now we look at the other media of advertising, which is newspapers. So this is part of print media, e.g. the Post. We have Daily Nation, Times of Zambia. So there are a lot of institutions, organizations that produce newspapers. Okay, so these are just a few examples that I've given of some of the few organizations that produce adverts or give us information through the newspapers. So let us look at the advantages of newspaper advertising. So they give a wide national coverage since newspapers are read by all class of people. So newspapers are quite affordable, and when you move around the streets, you find people selling newspapers everywhere. Okay. Advertisements can be placed on appropriate pages of the paper to catch the attention of the readers, e.g. business items on business pages. Okay, so when you look at a newspaper, it has a guidelines. It will show you to say on this page there's business, on this page there's a job advert, on this page there's current affairs, and so on and so forth. So newspapers provide large space for so when you talk about newspapers, it has like many services, like I've made mention to say it gives more details. On this page, you find it specifically business. On the next page, it's specifically current affairs or maybe sports news and so on and so forth. And then the other one is newspapers give longer life to advertisements since newspapers can be kept for a long time. Okay, let us look at the disadvantages of newspapers. Newspapers are perishable. They can be discarded or destroyed within a short period of time. So when you look at the newspapers, most people, you know how it's a paper, right? So water can spill there, it can be destroyed, people can tear it, it can't last for a long time. Then poor quality of print may reduce the effectiveness of adverts. Illiterate people are not able to access the information in the newspapers. There are people that can't read, so they probably will not get the information they need to get from that news. The media of advertising we're going to look at is a magazine. So I would say a magazine is a bit similar to a newspaper, but it's not really a newspaper. It could be something like, not really the same, but a bit similar. So we look at the advantages of a magazine. So they offer targeted advertising, where certain adverts can be targeted to a particular audience. For example, a men's magazine may advertise men's shoes and trousers. So a magazine, would have like different types of magazines. There are magazines which has products, like I'll give an example of Avon products. Avon products have the magazines where they advertise different perfumes, roll-ons and sprays that they have. Okay, so that's a way of advertising. We also have men's magazines which show us products for men. We also have women's magazines, kids magazines. It will show you what products they have for the specific particular people. So many readers other than the buyer of the magazine merely have access to to advertise in magazines. This is as a result of their long life. Okay, so the use of colorful illustrations can attract aspiration. So when you talk about the example that I gave on Avon products, those guys, when they advertise their perfumes, they even have a scent there, right, where you know to say this particular perfume that I'm looking at, this is how it smells. Okay, so that attracts customers. We look at the disadvantages of magazine advertising. So some magazines may have limited readership as they appeal only to a certain class of people. E.g., we talk about some women may not want to read men's magazines. Okay, so yes, so like magazines can be limited because okay, so now we look at the factors considered when choosing the media of advertising. Okay, so the first one is the target group. So when we talk about target groups, this is referred to the potential buyers of a product or service. So we'll talk about, for example, the people's age. We'll talk about their sex. Are they male? Are they female? We'll look at their income and occupation. So when you talk about a target group, you need to know this product that I'm bringing to the market, which type of people are going to need it, because there are people who can't afford very expensive. So you need to make sure it caters for everyone. What's your target audience? Do you want those people without income, which is big, they can manage to buy? How is your area? Are they people with low income? So you need to look at the target group. If there are people who have low income, you need to make sure your products are not very expensive. Okay, the second one is cost of advertising media. So when you talk about this, it is an expense to the business. Okay, so you need to know like what your advertisement is going to cost you. Are you using a billboard? Are you using TV? Are you using radio or posters? Like how much is it going to cost you to advertise that particular product? Types of messages. So when you talk about types of messages, you talk about in the way you are advertising your product. How is your message? Your message doesn't have to be long to bore people. It's supposed to be simple and interesting, like just a simple and straightforward message about the product that's going to attract people. Okay, methods of appeal. So when you talk about, you need to have the rightful methods of appeal for your advertising. If you are using personality appeal, you use people who are popular. You can talk about musicians, you can talk about influencers, you can use them to advertise your product. You can use excellence. There are different types of appeal that you can use. Okay, extent of business campaign. How are you campaigning your business? So an advertisement campaign is to be carried out on a national scale. For example, we can use national newspapers, we can use radios, we can use TV, and so on and so forth, whichever advertising method that suits your budget. Okay, so we look at the control of advertising. So there is good advertising and bad advertising. So in the way that we advertise our products, there's a good way and there's also a bad way. Okay, so the bad advertising has real damages to customers and needs to be strictly controlled. Okay, so now we look at ways of controlling advertising. So there are types of bad advertisement that need to be controlled. So there are certain ways. There are these few ways that you can use to control. So the first one is draw up a code of advertisement. So when you talk about drawing up a code of advertisement, meaning you need to have a detailed document that is drawn up to protect customers from being misled, from dishonest and untruthfulness. So there are people who would bring your product and lie about what it does, when in the actual sense it causes harm to your body. So they need to be like a document that's drawn up to protect customers. Okay, things that are legal. So I'll talk about examples where we have Zambia Standard of Bureau, which is ZABS, which examines food products before they are sent out to be sold. Okay, so the other one that we're going to discuss is the government makes laws that protect customers. So the government, this is where now the one I'm from explaining comes in, because ZABS is a government organization. Okay, so this organization is formed to make tests on food, on water, on drinks, and let me say most of food products, inclusive medicine. They make sure they test them to know if they are harmful or they are okay for the people to buy. So once they are tested, they are verified, and then now they'll be good to be sold to the public. Okay, so customers form protective associations that protect customers. So we have voluntary organizations, which are non-profit, which are non-government, told to say. So they are non-government organizations. Watching my video, make sure you subscribe to my